welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please have a seat and turn to page 2 in your liturgy books. Gata of Atonement. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. All evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. I take refuge
refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers. For the lineage of teachers before them, I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened, may their vows be completely realized, and may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion, may all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be, may this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be, may this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness and the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please stand now for the Heart Sutra on page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all five skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness. Emptiness, no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness. Emptiness, exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not saint, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no I ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no ending of old age and death, no suffering, cause of suffering, cessation, path, no wisdom, and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. Bodhisattva lives by prajnaparamita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond elusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajnaparamita, attaining Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi. Therefore know that prajnaparamita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajnaparamita mantra, set forth this mantra, and proclaim Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Para, Gate, Parsam, Gate, Bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is, and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds, and dedicated in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to Shauna and Emily. May they have healing and ease. And Vicky and John at the time of their death, as well as those whose names we hold in the silence of our hearts and those whose names we voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honor
Kids and Dharma school teachers, please come together in the lobby for Dharma school. Everyone else, please prepare for Zazen. seen, so walking lightly. Sound of the clappers, the first and third rows will turn to the right, the second and back rows will turn to the left.
will now recite the Sangha Covenant found on page 8 in your liturgy books. We, the Daishin Kokaji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated for this morning's talk. Sit comfortably and face towards our senior who will be giving our talk this morning. In a moment, we will recite the Gatha on Opening the Sutra, also found on page 8 in your liturgy book.
Also, if it's convenient, folks and chairs, if you could scooch to the side so everyone can see well. That'd be appreciated.
Gatha on Opening the Sutra. The Dharma incomparably profound and infinitely subtle is rarely encountered even in millions of ages. Now we see it, hear it, receive and maintain it. May we completely realize the Tathagata's true meaning.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for being able to join us on this beautiful day. So, there's been a lot going on lately. If you hadn't noticed, I guess that's always true, but in the life of the temple, there's been a fair bit going on just this week. We've just completed a, 5-day deep dive teaching retreat on the liturgy. We got through a lot of things. There's been a shift. Those who've been around for a while know that it's like, we will do this teaching on the liturgy and we will do the entire Heart Sutra. And at the end of day one, it's like the first line has been covered. And something shifted. If we hadn't voted down Roshi that we were so tired at the end of the first day, we'd have gotten through the entire harmony of relative and absolute on day one. And so we did that and the Enmei Juku Kanungyo and we talked about the magical nature of the Dharani types of chants that we do, and the dedications and all sorts of different miscellaneous things our teachers have been working through in these teaching retreats. All of the liturgy that is part of our tradition. And it's just been absolutely amazing to be a part of. One of the things that came up that I particularly wanted to call to mind is lately I've noticed Roshi talking about right view, which in the core Buddhist teachings is has kind of a special place. It's the first of the Noble Eightfold Path, but it's also very much locked in with the Four Noble Truths, the sort of core two teachings at the heart of Buddhism. And he kept on coming back to this point that this first step on the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, this idea of understanding and seeing clearly, it's the first step, but it's also the culmination of the whole thing. And so that's kind of how we spent our time. We spent our week in the world of cognitive framework, which is kind of can be a weird thing in the Zen community, or at least it can seem so. But it's very useful. I mean, our central practices are often very much outside of the realm of cognitive framework. We sit zazen. You know, it's very embodied, it's very experiential. And we take that mind, that cognitive discursive mind, and we give it a rest. And we just let it kind of take a break. And the senses bring things in and they float in front of us. And hopefully, if our samadhi is strong, we don't really play with those things. They kind of drift in and drift out. And if they don't, then that's not a problem either. The whole strength of that beginning instruction, which some of our visitors today received for the very first time, I mean, that too, a culmination of our entire practice. In being present with our practice of zazen and other things arise, we acknowledge them, let them be, and we return to our practice, the breath, the koan, off the cushion, the dishes, the planning, the discussions that need to happen. But our attention is embodied, and it's on that. And there's definitely a place for understanding in everything that we're doing, especially in a strange and mystical village like this. I'm always very excited to see new people in their first time, their first month, their first year, because I know what it is to walk in to this kind of place. Someone visited our community long ago, and they described it as kind faces, strange ways. Yeah, I like that a lot. And we do have a lot of strange ways. We have all of these ancient technologies for the purpose of awakening. And we don't even necessarily recognize that that's what we're working with. We bow. It's an interesting and embodied practice. And without some sort of cognitive framework, that can be weird in the West. We kind of bow in the West as like subservience and supplication. And that's not the bow in the East. That's not the bow that we inherited in our Buddhist lineage. It is the bow of gratitude. It is the bow of self-identity with what we see. I have friends with family members who are very steeped in their own religious tradition about the evils of idolatry. Golden images, as it were. Which honestly, I grew up Catholic, and so when we got this Buddha, that did not escape my awareness or my sense of humor in the whole thing. And, there's tons of other stuff. There's this whole thing of, the chants and the sutra and all these different things. But again, they're pointers to this direct experience. So if you don't know what's going on, but you can take up the posture, there's still something happening. There's still something at work, and it's really useful. It can be, if we open to it, if we encounter it directly. Chanting, actually, we spent the first day with one of my favorite chants, the harmony of relative and absolute, or the identity of relative and absolute. And it's talk about something that gets into cognitive framework. I mean, it's talking about form and emptiness and light and dark. And it's this ongoing encouragement to really experience the one that arises, to recognize that one arises, they're both there, and that you don't have to understand it. And oh dear God, don't get caught in one side or the other. I would add that if I thought it was useful in that sort of what are the core things we want to teach. Dear God, just don't get stuck in one side or the other. When we run into trouble in our lives and in our practice, a lot of times that's in the mix, I find. Anyways, that's my experience of it. I'm a really awful sports fan. Terrible. I barely pay attention. Usually about 2 weeks before playoffs, I glance to see if Calgary is in the playoffs, and is the way of Canadians follow hockey. If they're in the playoffs and Edmonton's not, I gotta send Alex a text and point it out to him, because my buddy's an Edmonton fan. But I mean, there's a place we can get stuck in one side or not, our likes or dislikes. The things that we identify ourselves with. And if we don't use it well, we also use it to identify who we are not. I have these students and at school, because I teach school, and they will get into it about sports. And this one young man, his interest is not in a team. It's in whether your team lost. And I see him light up. He takes great joy in it on a certain level. But it's interesting. It's a barrier. It's an othering. It's a tribalism. Which it's wonderful to be a fan of things. The players come and go. We root for the clothes. I heard a comedian say once, "Is I root for the red and yellow in Calgary." I didn't know it when they traded a Jerome McGinley years ago. He was gone for 6 months before I noticed. I don't follow that closely, but I root for the clothes. And so that I am this, Alex is that. Your team lost. Your team sucks. They're professional athletes. They're better than you or I are, but your team sucks. But I mean, there can be a joy to it, but it also holds that same seed of putting people outside of ourselves. I mean, you're outside of me. I know this. You're there. I'm here. Later, I'll be somewhere else. But I can wield that in a way where I really hurt myself and isolate myself. And if I'm doing it to me, I'm doing it to you. And we all bow together. And we all chant together. And we all chant over and over, form and emptiness are one and the same. And sometimes in chanting it, there's a little flash. That's worth being curious about. So why do we do any of that? Shokai, we were talking about, I think it was the white Tara sadhana, and she says, why do we do this? Like very much directed at Doan, who introduced the white Tara sadhana to our community. And Doan was bringing, or Shokai was bringing up this idea. It opened up this very interesting idea. Why do we do any of these things? Why this way and not that way? Why this tradition, not that tradition? In life, some of it's just what we fall into. But it's neat here because here, I don't think any of us, I scanned the room for Isabella. I don't think any of us actually were raised Buddhist. I meet new friends all the time. Anyone raised Buddhist here? Yeah. So we come to this because we find some identity to it. Or maybe we're driven to it because we need something to address some kind of pain. Pain of loss. Pain of being burned by another religious tradition. And there's something here for that. And there's this warning that still mindful of othering. We can even do that within this community. We talk about our own religious tradition of upbringing, if we've been burned by it, and we're happy to be where we are now. And we can get into, your team sucks. Or that team sucks. I'm glad I left that team. Maybe so. But again, right, the same thing can be there in how we use our words, how we use our minds. Yeah. Let's at least notice that. Okay. If we notice stuff in this practice, we can do a lot. Because we notice where those distances are, where those hooks are. And in the end, the reason we came to this practice, the reason Shakyamuni sought this clarity was to alleviate suffering. One way or another, that's why we come through that door, or at least that's why we keep coming through that door. There is something we need to address. And as we become more aware of it, we can see it in so many places. And we don't necessarily recognize that that's in that technology of a bow, a chant. It helps to understand it, to get some of that cognitive framework. Let's know why Maybe in our Western culture, we feel differently about bowing. Let's know why in our own lives we have the feelings we have about hierarchy or particular religious traditions or whatever problems or archetypes that rub us the wrong way. We notice it. We can pay attention to it. But not just to push it away or pull it close or other it, get my team together, know that it's different from your team, but to be curious about that. Same curiosity that Zazen opens up. If something keeps coming up in your Zazen, that's something to be curious about. Random stuff, that's going to happen. But being curious, there's an opening in that. I found there's an opening in that. So you can bow and not know why you bow. It can still be a useful practice. You don't have to understand every single line of the chant. And it can still be a really useful practice. Okay? You can have no idea how to do orioki if you come to retreat. And that one, I love that one. That's hilarious because, we orient people, we walk them through it, they know all that stuff. There's this joyful idea of just, we're going to eat now, here are your bowls, watch the people around you. That hits a different way, but that gets the job done too. Because you're not going to remember our orientation to orioki. You're not. Especially if the teachers change which way the chopsticks go. And you might not even remember, what am I supposed to do with beginning, with Zazen, right? What happens in the counting of the breath and all this stuff? That's fine. But take up the posture. This is a technology. There's this clarity in taking up the posture. Cushion, bench, chair, laying on the couch. It can be done in a way that there is this noble alignment and clarity. And you access that, you embody it. And it works on you. It's really neat. And we can go through all the neat stuff about the channels of the body and how energy flows. It might be useful for you. It might not help at all. Okay. But practice it. Okay. Questions are definitely fine. But in my upbringing, religious upbringing, the questions were about the beliefs. I had a lot of questions about transubstantiation growing up Catholic. And those questions got irritating after a while because I didn't understand. And in questioning that, I poked at something that eventually got me some rough answers. I just had to take it, whether I understood it or not. And what I find is different in what I do here, and what we all do, is here the focus is our practices, what we embody. And that's different than beliefs. We all embody the same thing. We embody the noble awakening of Shakyamuni every time we take the position. Whether you're taking it for the first time or the thousandth time, whether you're taking it in pajamas, street clothes, or robes, it's the same embodiment. It's not other. It's kind of cool. But in practices, sure, we can embody it and we can be curious why. but the not knowing doesn't have to get in the way. This is my favorite thing. Not knowing doesn't have to get in the way. You can let it get in the way. This is something that's been modeled for me by my own teachers. And there have been so many times when I know there's an answer, and I know Rinsen and Doan know the answer, and I ask them for the answer, and they give me an answer that's kind of, They see my curiosity and they leave me in that not knowing. So good. Irritating. My first question to a Zen master was, how do I manifest this off the cushion? And he said, sit more. And I did not understand. I didn't get it. I didn't understand, but he said it and he rang me out. And so, like the clever Zen practitioner I was, when I got into Dokusan with Rinsen, I asked him the same question. He did the same thing. Sit more. He left me with the question. He left me with my curiosity. Ugh. I appreciate that a lot more now. One of the first teachers I encountered in print, as many of us do, Shunryu Suzuki, one of the quintessential books, Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the experts, there are few. This is curiosity. I like it. I had a colleague once. We taught history together. And there was this othering that would happen. Students would come into the class and ask questions about stuff that wasn't the focus of study, but they were really interested. And my friend would get very mad because they were convinced this was an attempt to quote Calvin and Hobbes, expose the ignorance of the faculty. And so it would become a war. They're going to outsmart me, I'm going to get them. Hey, sir, what's the cause of this blah, 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 blah? I don't know. But we could figure it out, or I could give it to you as an extra credit assignment. That's a good way to stop the questions. Look it up, report back to me. I'll expect the paper on my desk tomorrow. But you can encourage these curiosities because we want to know. Why is that so beautiful? I don't know. I think we're kind of poised really nicely here in the Northwest. Midwest? I don't know. I'm from Canada. This is the deep South. So, because this religious tradition is not our culture, the Western culture, we didn't grow up with reference, with being steeped in all of this stuff. And so we have this opportunity to come to it not knowing, with beginner's mind, with curiosity. It's not just, grandma's religious tradition and I have to go along to it as well. It might be, if it was the same practice, all these opportunities would be right there. But maybe it'd be a little harder because it'd be familiar. Okay. Rinsen had this interesting analogy talking about something related to form and emptiness and understanding and not knowing that came up this week. And it was around the idea of water. Is you can study water. You can know its chemical compositions. You can understand the structure of the electron shells, know what is likely to happen under different conditions, what things are likely to interact with it, the impact that it will have chemically, how it shifts state. You could break it all down and have a deep, abiding understanding of what water is and how it functions, at least on paper. A doctorate in water won't touch what that was and what it did for me. In the last year or so, a little over a year, I've ordained. I'd already been coming here for getting close to 2 decades. I went through the Shuso process of becoming a senior and all the things that that means. And I get asked a lot of questions. I'm expected to know things. In my practice, what I really cherish is what I don't know. And whether I know or whether I don't, I have this practice that I can embody, that I can do along with Sangha, that I can do under the guidance of my teachers, and this lineage which has found ways to express and to communicate a very important insight. However we encounter it, whether we understand it or not, just don't know. Yeah, just be present to it. Embody what it is to bow at the end of service, to hug an old friend, to have some pasta. Is there pasta? Is there pasta? I don't know. There's pasta there? To have some pasta or whatever food is available. And to get out and feel the ground under your feet. The sun, the wind, the humidity. Even the anxiety of having to have that conversation you don't want to have. This is something we can all take up together. I hope that we do.
We'll now conclude with the Bodhisattva vows found on page 8, and we'll do the sung version today. I vow to wake all the beings of the
to rest. Woo! I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way. I vow to wake all the beings of the world. Yes, I do. I vow to set endless heartache to rest. Woo! I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way. One more time. I vow to wake all the beings of the world. Yes, I do. I vow to set endless heartache to rest. Woo! I vow to walk through every wisdom gate. I vow to live the great Buddha way.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our service for today. I'm sure that we have announcements. Announcements? Eka has an announcement.
I always have announcements. All right, 2 announcements. One is Pride is coming up in August. If you're interested in participating with the temple, it's so fun. We always have such a blast. There's a parade. If you can't physically do that, there is a booth that we have, and everyone loves us there because we have so much fun ringing the bell, and everyone comes and rings the bell, and oh, it's so much good fun. So if you're interested at all in participating in Pride, please see me, and I will get you the sign-up sheet. Also, our teen, hopefully I say it right, Seijin is forming in September. That is our coming of age in the Buddhist community. That is a 10-week program once a month on Sunday mornings for 10 months. So if you have a teen that might be interested in coming of age in our community, please let me know. Thank you.
What age range is that for?
Teenagers.
Just all kids?
Yes.
Thank you all. Please restore the Zendo.